Yeah, let's do a rant. All right, I really want to go on this rant right now and really get really frank and honest with the business and really set in stone exactly how things are and not try to sugarcoat or try to magnify or diminish, just exactly depict how things stand, name some names and name like bank account numbers. I just think it's interesting to, if you're watching this and you're trying to start a business, this may be of value to you. I want you to start your business, and if you are starting a business, watch me, watch what I'm doing, and watch how I do things, and so that we can exchange our successes and our failures. And I want you to know that what I'm filming right now is exactly what's happening, the honest truth. So this could be of value to somebody. If you have any thoughts on this, I'd love to see you more in the comments, because I need more exchange with people that are going through the same things. I think we're all in the same community and we could all learn together and not have to listen to the fake, glossy, filtered people that are building an online, course that is not a business. In reality, in real life, there's a lot of ups and downs. The reason I'm not afraid of sharing this down with you is because I think failure is also super important. And I think me admitting failure is okay. It's a good lesson for me. And I think it's important for you to see somebody fail and see that it's okay. And then you can just get up and brush off and just move on and do the next thing. So embracing failure is important. I'm embracing it right now, and I hope you embrace it by watching this. Media Day is, I'm hoping it will make 60K this year. And the reason for that is because a lot of our business that's been established, that's going to be the 60K. My projection has been to get to 100 this year. And so we took on this major risk of crowdfunding for Christ Academy. And not only crowdfunding, but especially finding the tax credit scholarships for them. And that's not our strong suit. So the things that we do really well have been done very well. But I got greedy in the summer, and I took on this other project of finding tax credit scholarships for a school. And that's not our forte, that's not our strong suit. So I've been deploying myself and 2 other people on that basically full-time since July. That's a lot of money spent, a lot of time spent, and basically it's November 10th today, or thereabouts, November 9th, November 8th today. We have 0 to show for it. 0 has been collected from that project for the school, and therefore the residual for us is also 0. So that's been 3-4 months of insanely devoted, dedicated work, and many hundreds of hours spent with 0 to show for it. And the most important thing is I'm the bottleneck. So I've been deploying myself on that project and not been gathering more clients to do with websites and social media and video and things that we do well. So it's interesting, in 2018, things are going really well and things are going badly, like not in a major way, but it's a struggle every single day because the things that we do well, I didn't put a lot of emphasis on because I'm getting greedy, I'm doing more, I'm trying to do more things to do. But the things that we're finding to do, maybe we're not as good at, especially in the first year. And that's really hurting us. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about, should I double down on what I do well, or should I try to do more things, add more to the plate? I think you should double down. You should triple, quadruple down. It's always better to do what you know best. And only dedicate maybe 20% to something new, maybe 30%. I wouldn't put 50% on a new risky endeavors, and I think I put like 60 or 70%. Like I put way more than I ever should have, because I thought it wouldn't be as hard as it is. I thought we know most of the work, most of what's required to get there, to do the work, and it turns out we knew nothing. Like if I look back now, how much I know about raising the tax credit scholarship stuff, I know exactly what to do now. Like which is a good thing. Now, next year we'll be amazing at it. That's the upside of taking huge risks. Even if you fail in the short term, you always win in the long term. But we are losing in the short term, but we're winning in the long term. So I'll explain that in a second. But in the short term, it's dangerous unless you have reserves to fall back on. It's very, very dangerous to risk so much, because if you can't afford to lose, then you're going to just close shop. Thankfully, we're not at that place. Thankfully, we will be able to absorb this loss. Now, granted, it's only November 8th. We have a few weeks, maybe like an enormous amount of money will come. And we've been breaking down doors. We've been emailing like mad for the last 4 months, visiting in person, shaking hands, sending out invitations, creating events, sending invites, creating a buzz for those invites, for those events, and people wouldn't show. Then you have a second event, have more buzz, create more invites, create more invitations, people wouldn't show. So having an event where nobody's showing up is incredibly difficult, and again, just because we didn't know what we were doing, and so just putting so much time blocked me away from doing the stuff that I knew how to do well and how to make money on, and so it's a very risky decision. I would urge you not to do it. In the future, in 2019, we'll be much better at the tax credit scholarship thing. So if I stay in that world, then I'll know exactly what to do, what not to do. But when you're looking at the business of Media Day in 2018, we're probably going to underperform this year. Again, it's possible we'll reach that hoped for six-figure 100K by the end of the year if things come through in the last minute. And who knows, they might, because it's like putting a lot of irons in the fire. You're just hoping they'll mature in time and they'll just collect. So we'll see. This is only November, it's not December 31st yet. Not only are we learning with the tax credit scholarship thing how to do things better, so we'll do them much better next year, if we stay with that route, which we will or not, depending on how bad. If this works out, maybe we'll come back to this next year. If this just totally doesn't work, maybe I'll just say it's just not what we do well, and we'll walk away from it and get back to web design, social media, video, crowdfunding, and not do the tax credit scholarship stuff. We'll see. I'm not sure yet, but the learnings have been amazing. So that's number one. Number two, that's an amazingly good development is all the other stuff that has been built up is now maturing. The exact same failure scenario with the tax credit scholarship situation happened with the things that we do well now, which back in the beginning we did not do well. We were awful at and terrible at, just like right now we are with this. And we failed, and I failed over and over with web design and with just like how to find businesses, how to find clients. What is a client in my nonprofit, churchy, school, foundation world? What does that mean? How do you find them? How do you get them to say yes? Do you like rush to them and like get them to stay on a spot like a salesman would, or like how do you get? I'm not a salesman. I'm not a businessman. How do you acquire those skills? I didn't have those skills, and I failed tremendously for the first year, 2014, 2015, before I even was incorporated, just myself and a friend. What I realized was it's a long game. And so what you have to do is you have to plant the seeds and not be impatient at collecting them. And I planted a lot of seeds, and I was just patient playing the long game in 2015, 2016, 2017. And long story short, whatever happens in the future, past this video with successes. Right now, this is a major success. We have the chaplain to the Eagles working with us. Pastor Herblusk has commissioned Media Day to rebuild not only his website for his church, but he has a little empire. There's like 2 schools, a charter school, a classical Christian school. There is a foundation, People for People, and he wants to rebuild all of it by somebody. And I met with him in his office in the church, and he wants me to start with the website. And he's already paid like a lot of money, desperately needed money given the failure of the tax credit scholarship project. He's already paid money for the website project. And now we're working on that full steam ahead. And if that goes well, then we'll do everything else. And we'll take over a lot of the media. He wants us to take over a lot of the media work. So that's going to be incredibly important because Pastor Lusk is one of the more prominent Christian leaders in the whole city. Very, very prominent, very important. Not to mention the Eagles themselves. The connection to the Eagles is phenomenal. So it's possible that we'll be able to lean on him if we need an Eagles quarterback in 2 years to come to an event, right? So if we do the tax-rated scholarship thing in next year, and we have an event in December of next year for Christmas, we can maybe get Carson Wentz of the Eagles to come in and be the keynote speaker because of the work that we're doing now with the chaplain. And we got him now because of all the seeds that were planted 3 years ago, 2 years ago, to get to this point. And of course, there's a lot of other, it's not the only project. We have Anglicans for Life, the Contending Anglican. We have what's his name, Paulus Tribunum, classical sculptor I found on Instagram. And he's from Portugal, traveling all over Europe, sculpting amazingly classical, beautiful statues in today's world of who knows what. And to support him, I DM'd him and I said to him, can I just build your website for free? He said, yeah, I'd love that. Thank you so much. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. So now we're building a classical website for a classical sculptor. So that's going to add to our portfolio. Again, that's a pro bono work. That's a seed being planted right now. That's going to mature in a year or two because people in a year or two will look at our work and they will say, what has he done? Is it all churchy stuff? No, actually, there's a lot of school stuff now. There's a lot of classical art stuff. Just enriching the portfolio is very important, and I needed to find the right partner to the right avenue to do that with. He's going to be a great asset to helping us. He thinks we're helping him only, but him giving us his prestige is helping us as well. Staffing is a whole different thing. You're always relying on people, and when they're in college, when they're in their younger 20s, you can't always depend on them as much as you'd like to. And I'd like to depend on them a lot, but they're like, as I was in my 20s, early 20s, I was completely unreliable. I wouldn't hire myself in college years. So I'm depending on them as much and more than I would on myself at that time. And every now and then there's people that flare out. So with the 8 people, that's the core skeleton crew, people that have not flared out, that have not been flukes. It's a very stable, dependable core crew. That's unthinkable to me 3 years ago. Unthinkable. Having a business that may, if everything does go well, may go up to 80 or even 100K this year. We'll see. At least 60, maybe 80, maybe 100 is unbelievable. I mean, the worst case, 60 is still amazing. That's like the depressing case. That's still amazing. 80 is like, oh my God, 100 is going to be, I can't even imagine what I'll think if I hit 100 this year. So it's always the metaphor I have is climbing the glass staircase, and you're climbing the broken staircase, and like the glass is eating into your hands, you're being cut, but you just keep on climbing, and it's important to keep the mind on the good stuff and not to forget that it's there. And it's also important, it helps me to think of the bad stuff and keep on putting out the fires, because if you let the good stuff come as it will, and then you figure out and you fix the bad stuff, which will happen every day, then you fix the bad stuff and the good stuff is there already, and you build higher and you build higher. And that's my rant for the day.